I never expected to be a full-time artist or make comics, but now this is what I do every day, all day. How the heck did I get here? Hey, Walter here, and this is a story time special. If you don't know me, I am a full-time comic book creator, author, writer, artist, whatever you want to call it, and I also do some freelance art on the side. But that wasn't always the case. Most of my adult working experience is with computers, systems administration, databases, reports, coding. I spent about 18 years working in the computer field, but about 8 years into that 18 years, I decided to start messing around with comics. And it was sort of accidental. Like, I've always liked writing, and I started writing some movie scripts, and me and my friend were like, you know what, let's make movies. So we decided to make a short film, like just 5 minutes long. And even that was a huge pain in the butt, trying to find actors and get the lighting right and catering the film shoot and messing with the film and the sound and just all that crap. It was a huge nightmare. Regardless to say, me and my friend decided not to do that anymore. But during the pre-production of that short, I was doing storyboards, and yeah, they were ugly stick figure storyboards, but that kind of sparked the flame of comics, because I was like, you know what? Like, I could take my stories and make a finished product without involving anybody else, because I've always been a kind of like DIY creative loner, antisocial introvert, so just doing everything myself was super appealing to me. So it was around that time that I decided I was going to start teaching myself to draw and make comics. So about 11 years ago, I decided to start teaching myself to draw, and this was a combination of books, copying artwork, drawing from reference, and just making my own horrible comics. I was also doing conventions at this time, selling prints and sketchbooks and doing a commission here and there. And about a year of doing this, I decided it was time to start doing my own comic. That's when I launched my very own webcomic called Cubicles, which was a web strip on drunkduck.com. It's still up there now if you want to check it out. I did that webcomic for about a year before I decided to go to the next level and do an entire graphic novel based on the characters from Cubicles. So I spent the next year drawing 80 pages to finish that story. And this was all while I was still working my day job, which was around 40 to 50 hours a week. After I finished, I ran a Kickstarter. I raised $1,400, which was enough to print a few hundred copies of the book. I took that book, started going to conventions. People were buying it. They told me they loved it. And at that point, I was hooked. I loved telling stories via graphic novels. So I jumped right into my next passion project, Shiver Bureau, which I spent about a year doing the pre-planning, the writing, the concept art, and also building up a buffer for the webcomic. So I did the webcomic for about a year before I had to go on hiatus. Like, just the posting schedule and the production while working my day job and kind of having to be live with everybody on the web was just too much. I needed a break, so I took a year off. Now, I say take a year off, but I was really practicing my art, getting better at my art, and also producing the rest of the Shiver Bureau story. So after that year was over, I had Shiver Bureau completely done. It was over like 100 pages over that year. And this is still while I was working my full-time job. So I had the comic done, and I started posting it as a web comic again, and I launched a Kickstarter for the book. Now, that Kickstarter raised $13,000, a huge jump from the $1,400. This is because I kept going to conventions and also because of the webcomic. I think webcomics are awesome. You should do webcomics if you want to build up awareness of you as a creator. So with that amount of money, I was able to print a hardcover book of Shiver Bureau, and I started taking Cubicles and Shiver Bureau to conventions. I even did a reprint of Cubicles. Now I colored it, ran another Kickstarter, and I think that one raised around $4,000 or something like that. So nowhere near as much as Shiver, but still enough to get a good amount of books printed. So at this point, we're about 7 years into my 11-year journey to a full-time artist. So I spent the next 3 years just doing the convention circuit with Cubicles and Shiver Bureau, just trying to build the awareness of the books and also me as a creator. I did some freelance projects on the side, did a lot of commissions, and it was at one of these conventions where I ran into a webtoon editor. I did a video about that whole entire process, so make sure you check out that video if you want to know that story. So because I met this editor, I had the opportunity to pitch to Webtoon. And luckily, my pitch was accepted by them. Now, it was at this point I realized, because of the demanding posting schedule for Webtoon, I had to make a choice. There was no way I was going to be able to do my full-time job and also produce the content quickly enough for Webtoon. So I had to make a decision. Do I pass on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with Webtoon, or do I quit my day job? So it was a super hard decision. I went back and forth on it for a while. Me and my wife kept talking about it, and we finally decided that we needed to take the risk, make the leap of faith, and just see what happens. So I quit my job back in October of 2017, and I've been freelance, full-time comic artist, creator, whatever you want to call it, since October 2017. So at the time of this video, I've been doing full-time art for about a year and a half, and it's been mostly great. There are moments of headaches and self-doubt, but I want to get into that stuff in the next video I'm going to do, which is going to be my first year as a full-time artist. So make sure you sub to check out that video and not miss it. So I'm wondering, like, how many of you are full-time artists? How many of you want to be a full-time artist? And how many of you just like making comics or making art for fun? Let me know in the comments, and also be sure to like, link, love, hug, and sub for more sweet, sweet goodness. Peace.